Having a good one. Was good, was good, was good. So, a lot didn't go on this past weekend. What did we have? We had the crypto summit on Friday. Not much happened. Nothing else happened over the weekend, except the markets kind of dipped a little down further. And we'll get into numbers in a little bit, so that's not going to be a problem. But what do we have going on today? What we have going on today is the USDC or USDC gains dominance against Tether on Binance. Binance being the largest centralized exchange in the world, and they're gaining ground. Why? Because Binance is having issues with I guess complying with MiCA regulations, but they are working on it. So I think this is a temporary thing. So USDC share on Binance surged from 0.48% to 8.2%, 8.26%. That's actually a huge rise. Now, is it going to stay that way? Yeah, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think that USDT is going to remain the market leader for a time to come. And I think that, once these non-compliance issues go away, they're going to go right back to where they were. Also, you have to remember that a lot of traffic happens outside of centralized exchanges. Then you have Solana's Pump.Fund meme coin generator faces decline. Why? Nobody's really interested in meme coins. And who suffered from it? From all that? Solana. Solana dropped big. Last time I peeked at Solana, it was at like 128. 128. Just telling you. Just telling you. The last time I saw it at 128, or one of the last times I saw it at 128, it was when they had that network disruption. So these are big losses for Solana. And we'll get into that when we go over the numbers as well. Blockchain and IoT and government is expected to hit $791.5 billion by 2030. Now, you're talking about governments actually leveraging blockchain technology and Internet of Things technology. And that could be where you could be looking at doing some investing in those kind of tech implementations, the companies that actually do the implementations. Those could be opportunities to look into. So I would be doing some research there. I am doing some research there. Then you've got U.S. states push for Bitcoin reserves. Utah passes a crypto bill, but here's the deal. Utah passed H.B.230 offering blockchain regulatory clarity, while Texas and Arizona advanced Bitcoin reserve bills amid rising state level crypto adoption. But the Bitcoin reserve terminology was removed from Utah's bill. So you've got to go back over the bill to see what else is going on. Just saying, there are things that are going on that people need to pay attention to. And that's one of the things that I would be paying attention to. So there are a few catalysts that are going to happen, and we'll get into this when we hit the end of the news. We'll be going into a couple of topics, and that'll be one of them. Then you've got Pi Network. You remember I was talking about Pi Network and how I didn't trust them? Remember that? Remember that I told you that one of the baggers within our community was invited by somebody with a referral to the Pi Network, and all she saw was a pyramid scheme. Yeah. So now Pi Network pioneers face a March 14th deadline. Pi Network users report difficulties transferring Pi coins that they've mined to the mainnet. That's frustrating because they were told they'd be able to do that. If you mine them, you can move them. If you move them, you can sell them. You can make money. Apparently, they're having issues with that. They're having issues. Good morning, Chicano. So yeah, there were big issues with that one. Then you've got Bitcoin may drop down to $70,000, according to a couple of people. One of them being Bloomberg's Mike McGlone. I don't know that I disagree. I kind of disagree with the specific 70 number, but is it going to drop into the 70s? Yes. Do I think it'll go lower than $72,000, which was the previous floor? Ooh, I don't know, because if it breaks 72, the next stop I think is like 68 or something like that. So I don't know about that one. However, it does make me, it's something, during the Big Baggers private video conference yesterday, I told everybody that I have two separate wallets. I have a set of holding wallets and I have a set of trading wallets. And my trading strategy says, yeah, I might sell some Bitcoin now if I'm expecting some downward momentum, right? If I see some downward momentum, I could sell Bitcoin now, wait for a couple of minutes, let it come back up, let it drop, buy some back in there. I'd have more Bitcoin. So when it goes up, I'd make more money. That's the play that I'm probably going to use against all of the cryptos. And we'll get into this when we start getting into the numbers. Just give me a moment. I want to give you all the news first. Then you have Japan considering a tax relief for crypto traders. Why? They need to spur their economy. That's why. It's as simple as that. U.S. economic data could trigger Bitcoin volatility. Yes, it can. Jobless claims, CPI information, PPI information. There's a lot of stuff, and we'll go through that as we go through the next part of the segment as well. Then we have Binance is banning GPS and shell market makers for market manipulation violations. So that's not small. Binance cracked down on GPS and shell market makers, citing policy breaches and seizing their profits amid speculations of a connection to Mei Lu. Go look up Mei Lu. Not such a good person. Yeah. So that's what we're looking at. Some good news, but it's kind of out there in the future, right? Kraken might go IPO in 2026. So if you're keeping your calendars, 2026 as a year, 2026 could be a good thing because that's going to wind up being a catalyst if they go IPO. And now we tell you they're not going to go IPO if the market is not doing well. So that's something to pay attention to. What else do we have? Crypto market sees about, over the past few days, we saw about $620 million in liquidations. Sounds about right. And then Consensus CEO is saying, listen, it's actually a good thing that Ethereum's neutrality, when it comes to politics, it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. Why? Because that's a part of decentralization. There should be no one side that controls it. It should be no one side that it falls on. I like that. I agree with it. I absolutely agree with it. Now, let's go over some of the news that we thought was going to happen this past Friday. We thought we were going to get a lot of good news. We thought that the United States new regime would announce some capital gains news. That didn't happen. We thought it would announce some blockchain integration news. That didn't happen. We thought they were going to announce some Bitcoin reserve, sovereign wealth fund news. That didn't happen. In other words, everything that was leaked out from within the regime circle, none of it came to fruition. What does that say to you? What it says to me is that the tariff talk dropped the market. Every time he uses the word tariff, the market tanks, right? So all he's done so far is tank the markets. He has not done anything to actually bump them back up. For a split second, he said that there was going to be a Bitcoin reserve, and actually not even a Bitcoin reserve. It would be a crypto reserve, right? That's what he said. And the crypto reserve would see, Cardano, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin. I forgot the fifth one. It doesn't even freaking matter. You would see those 5 cryptos in there, right? Nothing happened. That reserve, everything just turned out to be nothing more than a photo op. So when I think about this, I sit back and I just kind of go, I sit back a lot. I sit back and I go, it was a bunch of lip service. There is no plan. The executive order that he signed, no plan. It wasn't a mandate to go do it. It was if you feel like doing it, you have my permission kind of deal. When you get to it, you get to it. If you don't get to it, that's fine too. That's what that executive order was, which means it was not an executive order. There was no order to do things. It was, you could if you want to. You have my blessing if you feel like it. But there's no mandate. That is a problem. I don't care what anybody says. That is a problem. Right? So nothing came out of the summit. And it wasn't a summit. It was a meeting Whole bunch of heavy hitters in the room. Yep. Whole bunch of heavy hitters in the room. And all they did was, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Kiss the ring. Thank you. Really? Nothing else came of it. Nothing. Jack. Now, the only good thing that's about that summit is that it definitely showed who's in control. And it's not him. It's not him. And so now we're left wondering when something is going to happen. If something is going to happen. How will something happen? That's the problem. There's no how. Been yapping about it for months and months and months. And when you hit the office, you don't do anything except drive down the markets, stock and crypto. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not seeing market positivity going on right now. So I'm going to react appropriately. My hodling wallets, I'm DCAing, right? I'm using my dollar cost averaging strategy and I'm just going to keep it moving, right? No issue there. My trading wallets, I think we're going to be bouncing along the 70 something thousand to 90 something thousand range. And I'm just going to play the volatility. I'm going to play the ups and downs. It's as simple as that. I'll just play the ups and downs. So on one side, I'll just be DCAing, right? On the other side, I'm going to play the ups and downs to make up for any losses that I see temporarily or otherwise on the DCA side, and maybe even make more money, right? So right now I'm in, I think I'm going to sell right now because there was no good news. There was no good news whatsoever. So I'm kind of like, so what was this about? Right? Here's something else that I'm contemplating. I think over the next couple of months, you're going to hear about some deals being cut so that banks can actually custody crypto directly. The OCC came out and said, yep, you could do that now. They confirmed, yep, you could do that now. It's one of the articles I released over the weekend. And I said, if that happens, you're going to start to see banks start to say, oh, we can custody now? Who stands to gain from that? Coinbase. Coinbase stands to gain from that. Publicly traded. So if you're doing stocks, Coinbase could be a stock you could be interested in. Go do your own research. Remember the GMB3. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. That's the GMB3. So sticking to the GMB3, I'm recalling, so we could get a bunch of people, a bunch of banks that say, we can custody. How would we custody? We need somebody on the back end to help us out until we figure out how we can custody ourselves. Cool. Who can we do that with? There's Coinbase. Let's go do that with Coinbase then. So Coinbase stands to gain should something like that happen. Now, if that happens, that could be the catalyst that we need for the market to see an upswing. The question is how the banks would go about doing it and how the banks would actually announce it. I think it'll happen this year for sure. I think the first announcement will be, such and such bank is looking into going into custodying, handling custodial services for, crypto assets. And then the next step will be such and such bank cuts a deal with such and such company to provide custodial services. Next one is we're announcing custodial services beginning on X day. And then the next drop would be, hey, look, we've been doing custodial services and look who we have. The question I have within all of those press releases, that string of press releases, is going to be, are you only going to do it for high net worth individuals and institutions and companies? Or are you also going to do it for the regular person? Aha. That one right there. The reason why I bring that up is because imagine how much easier it would be if banks were handling custody of crypto. Then that would mean that your on-ramping of money is like that. Coinbase might be, if the deal is with Coinbase, well, that would have to change things, right? And it would change things by saying, well, the holding of your money, of your assets for a certain period of time on the platform before you can move them off, we might have to think about that. We might have to think about that. You're not going to be able to do that if you're performing those services for a bank. You might not be able to demand that you hold that crypto. So that may be a way to get around it. So you custody the services and you go, okay, thanks for handling that for me. And you move it off to a private non-custodial wallet. That would be my play. Just saying. La, 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 la. So yeah, there are things that I'm thinking about that I'm sitting back and I'm kind of going, yeah, I could see how we could be making money, off that kind of news. That's like 4 or 5 really solid press releases that could happen. And that could be the next catalyst. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, well, unless we get a catalyst, we're going to bounce around here. No. If you've been doing your own research, you would know that is a lurking catalyst. That is a lurking catalyst. I've been listening to other people talk about, well, I don't know what could happen. I'm not so sure. Do. Right? And it's like, have you been doing research? If you've been doing research, you would know that that is a positive catalyst. So I'm waiting. Because now that they have the go-ahead to do it, and deregulation is starting to happen for the banking industry, there could be some plays there. Now, there's economic data that's going to cause a problem, right? You've got companies doing layoffs. You have the United States government doing layoffs. You have a lot of layoffs coming on. Not cool. Not cool at all. So that's going to have an effect on the economy. So I'm looking at how much good news there is, how much bad news there is, the timing of each. And I'm looking for those times where I'd be able to get in, get out. Get in, get out. Because those things are going to happen. We're going to be bouncing around in this band for a minute. That's my humble opinion. It's just me. It's what I'm thinking. Do your own research. Do your own research. Know your entries and exits and absolutely invest deliberately. Must do that in order to follow everything that's going on. This is why I ask you guys, do your own investment research 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day. If you'd have been doing your own research for 15 minutes a day, you would have picked up on, oh, hey, wait a minute. The OCC just came out and said banks could do this. You'd be able to recall that. This is why I tell you to do this, because every time another piece of news comes out, you'll be able to start to connect those dots. And the more dots you can connect, the prettier the picture becomes. Anyway, you know what we should do? That's right. We should get to the numbers. So I moved my notes out of the way. Now, what kind of information are we expecting this week? Got job openings numbers coming out tomorrow. We have CPI coming out on Wednesday. We have PPI coming out on Thursday. And then we have consumer sentiment, the preliminary numbers, coming out on Friday. Those are all big movers. All big movers. Now, the problem is that with normal news, Powell would be in a position to say, well, we're going to raise or lower rates. He could be pressured just to lower rates. I don't think that's going to be a good thing. When the Fed feels pressured to do things, it will often do the wrong thing. Because people are saying, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. I'm hoping that's not what Powell does. I'm hoping he sticks to his guns and lets the market handle itself. And the reason why we need that is so that he's got levers that he can pull should things go sideways. If you force the Fed to do something now, the less levers they will have to pull when the emergency actually hits. And let me tell you something. The R word is coming. It's not a question anymore. It's coming. I think there is going to be a recession, and I think we need to gear up for it. That's why I'm hodling over here and trading over here. I'm trying to maximize profits over here. That's the whole idea. That's the one right there. Fear and greed index, we're all the way down to 20. Yesterday it was at 27. Before that was at 33. Just saying, there's a lot of fear right now because there's no good news. You can't trust this regime. That's what they're proving. We talk about tariffs. Oh, well, we're not going to do it. Too late, numbskull. You spoke about tariffs, and other countries have already responded to those tariffs. Canada's already taking US product off the shelves. All that liquor off the shelves. They were not playing games. China also did the same thing. You cannot make a threat and not expect retaliation. You didn't do what you said you were going to do, but they reacted to the threat. So now we have to go pay for that. 25, we're paying for those hits. So it's not going to be the 25% hit that you said was going to happen because it's delayed till April, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't freaking matter. We're paying for it right now. We are paying for it right now. And it could get worse. I keep telling you guys, remember, we have hits against things that could wind up being, big problems for the economy. Big problems for the economy. When we talk about tariffs against other countries, we wind up paying for it. When other countries talk about tariffs against us, they wind up paying for it. All around, the globe winds up paying for it. How does that hurt us? It affects all of our wallets, period. Period. Yesterday on the Big Baggers call, Mr. Big was busting my chops because he said, what do I know about Lucy's? For all those that don't know, Lucy's are stores, bodegas would open up a pack of cigarettes and sell cigarettes one by one and make extra money off that one pack of cigarettes. Well, what's been going on since I was a kid is there are a lot of small stores like bodegas that would break a carton of eggs in half and sell half a dozen eggs. Now they're taking to selling one egg at a time. They're called Lucy eggs. So you can buy 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, any number of eggs, depending on how much you can afford. Now, at first it sounds funny, and I said this yesterday on the call, at first it sounds funny, but it's not so funny. When you think about, that's literally people saying, I can't afford a dozen eggs. Now let that wash over you for a minute. That's literally saying some people can't afford to put food on the table. In this market, in this country, can't afford to put food on the table. That's crazy. So when I talk about affecting our bags, this is the kind of stuff that affects our bags directly. Directly. Somebody made a comment that, oh God, politics. So no, these aren't politics. These are policies, not politics. And these are policies that will affect our bags directly. We don't do politics here. We don't do sports. We don't do religion. We do investing. And from an investing perspective, that's what we have to think about. Right? Agriculture is a very big deal. A very big deal. And we have to pay attention. We can't miss out on that. What else do we have? This isn't good. Remember I told you I did not want to see total value locked go under $100 million. And here we are. I'm sorry, $100 billion. And here we are. $98.062 billion in total value locked. So do I think we can go back up? Yes. I absolutely think we can go back up. However, it's going to take some work. It's absolutely going to take some work. Here's where we are. Now, during the show, I watched Bitcoin go from 81,800 and change, and we're back up to 82,316. Not bad. But do you see where we're bouncing around? Right here. This is literally where we're bouncing around. Between down here at $78,000, literally on the button, $78,000, right? All the way up to right there, about $95,000. I think we're going to remain there for a while. I really do think we're going to remain there for a while. It's LOOSEYS, Lucy's. Are like drinking alcohol. I guess. But you're talking about eggs. You're talking about really people putting food on the table. It's not one of those things you could easily say, well, it's like drinking. What Hutanik is saying is, well, it's like drinking, alcohol from a minibar. You should probably quit. Except in this case, it's not as funny because we're talking about a staple. Literally people putting food on the table. That's really, really scary. That's dangerously scary. Looking at the big board, we've got a lot of red, like just all over the place. Just it's crazy. It's absolutely insane that you're seeing a whole bunch of red. Then we come over here and you kind of go, oh well, there are opportunities. There are opportunities. Look at how far year to date Bitcoin has dropped. Over the past couple of days, I don't think people are going to pay attention to this, but over the past couple of days, Bitcoin's had a more steep drop than Ethereum. Just saying. Ethereum is still carrying positive year to date, but look at that, single digits. Right? No, it is selling individual cigarettes out of a pack, Hutanik. But we're also talking about selling individual eggs out of a pack. That's the seriousness. So you go down and, even this one was flying high, Leo, and it's down to single digits. Everybody's in the red year to date. Everybody's in the red year to date, except for Mantra, and Mantra's dropped. Remember, Mantra was up over 100% year to date. Look where it is now. It's insane. I'm telling you, folks, we've got a lot of things that we've got to pay attention to, and paying attention to them now is a very big deal. An extremely big deal. All right. Everybody, this is Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. I greatly appreciate you stopping by and paying attention to the show. I greatly appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And absolutely, thank you for your trust. I greatly appreciate you. Everybody have a good day. You'll hear from me later on tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Crypto Overflow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.